Sarah, oh my goodness, you are something that what I've seen in your profile and in your resume and everything on LinkedIn, I'm going, wow. So you've come from intern to CEO, right?
Yes, it's been quite the
So,
journey.
so Sarah, how did you started as an intern? And I want you to start from the beginning, like how you got to your company now. And I want you to explain the name of the company because I think it's kind of cool
Yeah,
and how it
absolutely.
stuck. Yeah. So welcome to the show. But first, I want you to kind of give your background. How did you get from intern to CEO? That's the big story here.
Of course. So I started at Duct Tape Marketing as the company back in 2010. I had graduated college, had an internship at another email marketing company, decided I wasn't ready yet. I was a ski bum, traveled South America, ended up back in Kansas City, which is where I'm originally from, and started at Duct Tape Marketing, which is where they are based out of back then. And so I started as an intern, honestly, just no business sense really, or marketing sense at that point, had a lot to learn. But early on, really fell in love with what we were doing as a company. We've always been very focused on helping and making a difference in the small business space because a lot of people in the marketing world target the larger businesses, the larger accounts,
Mhm.
but we really had a passion for the smaller companies that are out there trying to make a living. And so I moved from intern to community manager to account manager, CMO, COO, sales. And then this last December stepped into the seat as a CEO. And it's been a really great growth journey for me over the years, but now it's made me a better leader as well because I've been in so many different roles and I understand the challenges and the struggles and what it looks like when someone's nearing burnout because I've been there myself. So it's made me a better leader today.
That is amazing. And your company is 30. How old is Duct Tape Marketing? How old is that company?
31 years old, and I know
31.
you asked earlier, or you mentioned earlier about the name, and so
Yeah,
the name always gets
interesting.
people's attention. Yeah, either people think we sell duct tape, which we don't,
Name.
or they are curious and they want to know more. And so we've always been about making small business marketing as practical and easy to understand and effective as possible. And so if you think about duct tape, those are probably some words that come to mind. It's
Mhm.
practical, it's simple, it's usually affordable, it's very effective at what it does. And so it's really been our rallying cry. And if you've surveyed our clients over the years or people that know our brand, we've asked them over the years, what's the number one word you think of when you think of duct tape marketing? And it's always been practical. So we've been able to
Mhm.
stay true to that over the years in business.
One of the things that I am fascinated by as I looked at your bio, just written a book, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but that how you've consulted like thousands of small business owners on how to build, grow, and scale a profitable business. But think about it right now, so much change is going on. And I can think back the 31 years that your company's been in existence, and you've been there for what, 15 of it.
Yeah.
How have you managed and navigated your clients through this time? And what has been the key to help you stay profitable as a company through this time?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely moving the fastest it's ever moved in my career. And I think probably in marketing in general, people could say that
Mhm.
because everything's evolving. The evolution of AI is changing how people do work and roles and org structures and all of the things. So there's just a lot of unknown. Also, AI is changing so fast that what we have today available to us might be completely different, will be completely different in
Mhm.
6 months from now, a year from now. Someone
Mhm.
asked me once, like, where do you envision AI being in 10 years? I'm like, I have absolutely no idea. Like, who
Yeah.
knows? It's hard to predict 6 months out. And so there's just a lot of uncertainty from business leaders, but also from team members, employees, contractors, whoever they manage as well. And so a lot of it comes down to we've actually done this exercise with our team a few weeks ago, where we had everyone on our team come together and talk about how they can future proof their roles. Because
I
John and
like
I, the
that.
founder of Duct Tape Marketing, we talk a lot about how can we future-proof duct tape marketing? Like what shifts do we
Hmm.
need to make as a company to continue to stay relevant in the space that
Hmm.
we're in? So we have a lot of those discussions, but we realized we needed to be having those discussions with our team members as well. And so we all went through an exercise where everyone made a list of all the things they do on a regular basis. So skills, tasks, like everything they're doing consistently. And then we had them analyze out of that list what are things that are very human focused, human led? What are things that can be AI assisted? And then what are things that potentially might be replaced by AI? And so
Mm.
then we had them analyze, okay, for the things that are AI assisted and replaceable by AI, like how can we bring in AI systems to take some of that stuff off of your plate so you can spend more time focusing on the things that are human based and human
Hmm.
needed? Because that's a way to future proof your career. You can't compete with AI on things that AI is good at, but you can work alongside AI to focus on your strengths to future proof yourself moving forward. And so then they also identified like what out of that list they love doing, what lights them up, where do they add value. And then based on all of that, they wrote a future bio to outline like where they see themselves growing into moving forward. And one of my team members, after she went through the exercise, she actually was like, I'm going to start using this bio now. I like this a lot more than what I currently have as my bio, even though it was something for her to strive and grow into. And so, as leaders, I think it's important to think about your company, but also to
Hmm.
think about your team as well to help them look internally to then be
Hmm.
able to identify what they love doing, where they can add value, and where they should spend their time moving forward.
I love that, Sarah. And you mentioned strengths. We're going to talk about that now. We talk about Clifton Strengths a lot here because it is a great tool to start with as you're developing your team. And then as each leader needs to know, what does each person contribute to the team and how can I help them be
Yeah.
their best self at work every day? So tell us a little bit how you've engaged with strengths in your organization and what has worked for you guys. Like how long you've done it, and how you do it for onboarding, all the good stuff.
Of course. So we took Clifton Strengths just as a company when I first started. So that was the first time I was introduced to it. I mean, I think I was a few years in at that
Hmm.
point, and I took it. And then over the last few years, we've incorporated it more into our business than we had back then. And so what we did at a few years ago is we had everyone on the team take the Clifton Strengths assessment, and then we created just a Google sheet with everyone had different tabs, and then they put in their strengths in that Google sheet, their strengths and their weaknesses. So they put their top and bottom five, and then answered a series of other questions like working style and how to best communicate with me and what makes a great team experience. And so just some additional questions there as well. And so then we had everyone present to each other so we could understand who has certain strengths here and certain strengths here,
Hmm.
and just how we could collaborate and how we could work together better as a team, and also kind of identify our people in the right roles as
Mm.
well based on their strengths, because I think that's very
Hmm.
interesting. And so that's when we had a big discussion on it. And now every single time we hire someone, and even if they're just a part-time contractor, we still have them go through this experience as well. When they're about 60 days in with us, we have them take Clifton Strengths and then fill
Hmm.
out their own tab on that spreadsheet and then share with the group their strengths. And so it's a really fun way to get to know newer team members, but then they also have access to all of the other team members' tabs as well on that spreadsheet.
That's a great idea. We have a lot of people that just use the team grid, and so they
Yeah.
see that in the grid. But I think I love how you took it a step further and had each of them write in the Google Doc. So tell us your top five strengths.
I'm glad I looked this up before because I couldn't have
Yeah,
rattled it off the top of my head. But
yeah.
strategic, focus, discipline, self-assurance, and realtor.
So when I know you took this when you were an intern. So it changed. You said it changed a little bit, and that can happen when you haven't really been in the workplace and you haven't been. But we know these strengths have been with you all of your life, and just from the research that we get from Gallup. So I mean, just to step into a role as CEO, I mean, I from intern, you've been there, you've done all these other roles, but which of your strengths do you think was really kind of helped you with that, boosted you for that when that started?
Yeah. I think focus and discipline has always been an
Hmm.
easy driver for me. I've always been really dedicated to the work that we do, and I put a lot of attention and thought into it.
Hmm.
So I think those two together has helped me. I mean, because a lot of people these days haven't been at a company for 15 years, and
Yeah.
so it's allowed me to stay motivated and stay driven and stay excited in the work that I do.
And also, just even with writing your book and all
Mhm.
the even looking at AI and things, I was looking for your futuristic, it might be in 6 through 10,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
looking at what are the opportunities that you have for the company and to grow this company, it would be probably your self assurance, because the self assurance just kind of has an internal compass and they can take risks and they can move
Yeah.
forward. And it's like, yeah, I can step into the C role. I don't know everything, but I'm going to do it.
I'll figure
It's
it
that
out.
kind of, yeah, I'll figure it out. That's that whole focus. So it really, when you know your strengths, it kind of helps boost you when you're having those moments of like,
Yeah.
oh, or I've got to get things organized or discipline, or I've got to get the team focused on their strengths. But I love that. How has it helped your team as you've been working with your team and leading them into AI? What have you seen with that? And how have you, or even any new opportunities that your company takes on?
Yeah, I think just understanding their strengths and what they focus on and what drives them and all of those things, it just helps me understand like how are they going to react to change to some extent, because
Hmm.
there is so much that's happening right now, and if someone is a lot more comfortable with like certainty, and it's going to take them longer to get there. So just understanding how they each work as an individual helps me manage them through what we need to get through more effectively.
So, how many people are on your team now, or how many people do you lead at this point?
Yeah, there's about 15 of us at Duct Tape Marketing.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
Mm.
And tell me, what has been the way that you've kept your team engaged? You talked a little bit in the green room about future proofing their roles. So let's talk about that, because right now employee engagement is huge. People want to know that what they do matters and that
Hmm.
they're valued at work.
Yeah.
So what are some things you're doing right now to help them own that and engage?
Yeah, so we did talk about the future proofing exercise where they identified, where their strengths are and where they should focus moving forward. So that's a big piece of it. But we've also had a strong culture at Duct Tape Marketing for a long time now, and we're all remote, and so we put a lot of initiatives in place for people to connect with each other on a deeper level than just a work level. And so that's all also really helped people stay motivated and feeling like they're actually part of something bigger ultimately. And
Hmm.
so we do things that seem so simple, but they make a big impact. And so one of them is every single Wednesday, Riley from our team posts something in the Slack channel. We call it our show and tell channel, where she just asks a completely random question. And then everyone on the team goes in there and chimes in. And so this week she asked like what's one thing in your life that added stress that you've gotten rid of, and so it's not work related, it's
Hmm.
personal. And so then people go in there and they share things that they were struggling with and how they overcame it, and then someone else will chime in and say I agree and I've done that same thing, and it just adds these like personal connections and conversations that you miss in work or remote work in a
Hmm.
lot of cases. Also on Friday we post happy Friday, what made your week, big or small, pictures encouraged. And so that goes out every
Hmm.
Friday morning. It's scheduled in Slack. And then people go in there and they share pictures of their kids and their dogs and places they went and, things that really made them smile. And so you get to know people on such a human level. So, and then also we do like quarterly review processes and all that as well. So it's having open and honest conversations with your team about how they can move forward and future proof, but it's also connecting with
Hmm.
them as humans as well.
I love that. And I love the fact that you have kind of a consistent pattern. Some
Mhm.
some some groups will go, "Oh yeah, we'll do that," and then it just falls off. Or
Yeah.
and it's really up to the leader. It's really up to the leader as coach to kind of make sure those things are happening, right? To keep the energy going.
Yeah.
So let's shift from leadership over to marketing. Talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing in the marketplace right now, and what are the biggest challenges for companies as they're looking at their marketing?
Yeah, I think right now the biggest challenge is people feel really overwhelmed right now because marketing is changing. What SEO was before is no longer, like, it's completely shifted into a different strategy and approach over the last few months. And so people are just feeling lost. Also, there's a lot of different tools that are being introduced when it comes to AI on a daily basis. And so it's the shiny object syndrome and confusion because things are changing. And so
Mhm.
there's this just sense of overwhelm right now. I would say that I've never experienced at this level. And so I always tell people, if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're not alone. First of all, like I feel
Mhm.
overwhelmed on a regular basis right now, and so you're not alone.
Mhm.
But also at the same time, instead of feeling like you have to be doing absolutely everything, I encourage you to take a step back and understand what is your business trying to accomplish? Where are you today? Where are you trying to go? What's your mission, vision, values? And
Mhm.
map out all of that stuff. And then think through, okay, what should your marketing strategy be to support those specific goals? And then analyze what's your team strategy. So, who's currently on your team? Do you have the right people in place? How can you up level them? And then you can start thinking about AI solutions from there. Because if you've gone through that whole process and you've identified business goals and marketing strategy and team strategy, then you're ready to start thinking about AI. And where I see a lot of
Mhm.
people who are getting very overwhelmed with AI is they're bringing in the tools first. And
Mm.
they have no strategy to train it on, and every single
Mhm.
person on their team is using it a different way. So it's inconsistent with all of the output. And so tools aren't going to solve our problems in a lot of
No.
cases. They're often going to make things more complicated. And so, if you're going to bring in AI, and you should be, first ask some hard questions and analyze what you're actually trying to accomplish with the AI solutions. And then, when you bring them in, how are you going to train them effectively? So, if you're bringing in like a chat GPT, how are you going to train ChatGPT effectively on your business, on your ideal clients, on your message, on your tone of voice, on your stories? And then, if multiple people are on your team are using ChatGPT, how are you going to put systems, processes, guidelines in place so everyone is using the tool consistently? And when you can go through that, yes, it's heavy lifting on the front end, but it's going to lead to long-term success.
Hmm. And I think you're so right. People do go, I call it the bluebird that comes in the room and they're like, "Ooh, there's another one," and they
Yeah.
go chase after that one. But being able to really get the business strategy, the mission, the vision, the values, all that first, and then get. And do you recommend with these smaller companies, because you all focus on smaller organizations, right? Not huge Fortune 500, but more small companies. Is that correct?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So they might not, they probably have to wear a lot of hats. And all of a sudden,
Yes.
oh, who's going to be our AI guru around here? Who's going
Yeah.
to be the person? So, what do you recommend for those companies that when they're just starting to do this? Is it
Yeah.
important to have kind of a one person that's kind of guiding the guide, the guidelines for something like this?
Yeah, typically, I mean, a lot of people go into business because they're passionate about something or they see an opportunity or, different reasons, but they don't go into business in a lot of cases to become CMOs or
Yeah.
marketers, unless that's what they're in, that's the industry they're in.
Hmm.
And so oftentimes the business leader ends up having to learn marketing or has to outsource marketing or delegate marketing to some extent. And so they often wear so many different hats and get spread too thin. And so what I think the best opportunity right now for small businesses is they need some sort of marketing leader in place.
Hmm.
And the fractional CMO route is a great route for small businesses because you're able to bring in a senior level marketer at a fraction of the price that bringing a full-time CMO would be. But it doesn't have to be a fractional CMO. It can be a marketing strategist or a marketing
Hmm.
manager or a marketing leader. I don't, it's not as important what the title is, but what's important is what they're doing. And so that
Hmm.
person should work alongside the CEO or founder to understand the business goals and objectives, and then create a marketing strategy based on that, communicate with the founder or CEO what the marketing strategy is and the why behind it, and educate them, and then oversee the execution in the long term. And so that marketing leader should manage everyone on the marketing team, should own the budget, should own the metrics and priorities, and own strategic planning moving forward. And so again, they're working alongside the business owner to create that marketing strategy and see it all come to life.
And you guys at Duct Tape Marketing, you actually train chief marketing officers or right? Is that what you fractional CMOs or fractional people to come alongside your corporate clients if they want them, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we have two sides of our business. And so we've, for the past 31 years, have worked directly with small businesses where we come in and we create the marketing strategy and we stay on as a fractional CMO plus. And so we either oversee their internal marketing department or we bring our team in to help with execution. So that's one side of our business. And then for the past 16 years, we've been certifying and training marketing consultants, agencies, and fractional CMOs on our approach. And that's what you were referring to there. So
Mhm.
they learn our strategy, our systematic approach to marketing, and then they're able to go out and serve their own small business clients from there.
That's awesome. So you've got both sides. So now I see in your profile that you love training. Tell me about
Yeah.
that. What is that? Where does that come from, do you think, in your strengths?
I mean, that's something that I've learned to love a lot over the years. And so
Mhm.
when I first started at Duct Tape Marketing, like I've always been an introvert, that hasn't changed. But when I first started Duct Tape Marketing, I was really shy. I was really uncomfortable speaking, to be honest. Like if I was in a room of even six people around a conference table and I had to say my name and where I'm from, like that would give me anxiety.
Oh my gosh.
But I knew it was something that I needed to work on and get more comfortable at over the years. And so I actually started my own podcast, and then I've gotten interviewed on a lot of podcasts. I started presenting more like webinars and training online for our groups. Then I evolved to in-person stuff from there. And so I still get nervous when I'm like in person on stage, but
Mhm.
not to anywhere near the extent that I used to. And I absolutely love it. It energizes me. It lights me up. I'm still an introvert, so I'm tired afterwards. That's
Yeah.
the same.
Like
That's
go
not going to go
rest.
away.
Yeah.
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 But I really love it because when you can come in front of a group of people and help them simplify something that's always been complicated to them and you see it
Mhm.
click and you see it make sense and you see them get excited,
Mhm.
that's really rewarding.
I love that. And I love the fact that you have decided to write this book. And
Yeah.
tell us about that. Tell us about the book and why you decided to write it. It's called Unchained. So
Yes.
tell us about this.
Yes, of course. So I've been thinking about writing a book for several years, and I've actually started and stopped a few times on different
Mm.
topics because I just got into it and I was like, this isn't it's not motivating me ultimately. And
Mhm.
so this last time when I started, I was like, okay, I have to write this book because there's something happening in the marketing space that I feel like needs to be talked about at a larger scale. And so it's called Unchained: Breaking Free from Broken Marketing Models. And it's all about what we actually call the anti-agency model. So we're not anti-agencies, they're great. We've been an agency for 31 years, but the model is breaking and we're
Yeah.
seeing it breaking. And so it's breaking for both the agencies. There's a lot of challenges in the agency space for running a business, but it's also breaking for small businesses as well. And I think it's speeding up because of the evolution of AI. And so I think small businesses finally have the opportunity to bring marketing ownership back in-house, by working with a fractional CMO or a marketing leader, creating a strategy, and then up leveling their internal team by layering AI systems below them. So it's really about how to approach marketing strategically, how to up level team, how to take ownership and really build a system within your business versus relying on outsourced vendors where you have no idea what they're doing or why they're doing it or what
Mhm.
results they're ultimately getting.
So, what are the three things you want people to take away from your book when they
On the
read this
book,
book?
yeah. Uh, Strategy before tactics or technology, like that is the
Mhm.
number one thing by far. Like you need to take a step
Mhm.
back and understand the strategy before you can do anything. So that's like the number one thing. I also want to empower small businesses. I think that a lot of people have been lost over the years. I mean, I've spoken to hundreds, if not thousands, of small business owners through sales conversations over the years. And there's just so many stories that I've heard of businesses being burned because they just don't know how to go about marketing. And so I want to empower and educate small business owners to make better decisions moving forward on how they're going to get marketing done. And then a third piece of that would be elevating team members, whether they're, you know, within businesses or they're within marketing agencies or where they are, but really elevate humans, by bringing in AI systems below them are probably the main three things that I would hope people would get away from it.
I love that. And talk about how you're practicing that right now with your team with AI and what you've had them do to future proof I love that story, and I think that's something I think would be helpful for people to hear.
Yeah, of course. So we did talk about earlier in the episode the future proofing
Right.
exercise that we is that what you're
Yeah.
referencing again?
And just yeah, I think how they do the future proofing and why you did was that one of the reasons you did that was to develop this feeling of oh they still care about me, they still want
Yeah.
me to be here, so I'm going to think about my role. And it was what we talked about in the green room about all the different things they do and which roles they could which ones could go to to future proofing and which ones or to AI and which ones they would need to do that really are a human that
Yeah,
would be human. So I think that's powerful. Um,
of course.
yeah. And I think as we get ready to close out and we're thinking about getting your book is launching or is just launched and it's out there,
Yeah.
um, what is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you want to make sure that our listeners hear from you today?
I think, I mean, we've talked about a lot so far. I just think the thing that I would keep in mind, I touched on this earlier, is you might be feeling overwhelmed right now as a leader. Your team is probably also feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling it on my end with myself and my team. And so it's really, I think the time is now to make people feel more comfortable, to think about how they're going to evolve, to think about how your company is going to evolve, and really think about the future more than ever before. But just reinforcing, like, if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're not crazy. It's just the landscape of business right now.
Yeah. And so how do you manage yourself through that? I mean, there's that piece where you've
Yeah.
probably you talked about you used to not want to talk and now you're out there training all the time. But when this day overwhelm, what do you use to help center yourself and get that
Yeah.
mindset right?
Yeah, I think it's really important. I've actually I took a 8 month long mindset course to become a mindset coach, because a lot of
Good.
people struggle with it, and also I have two daughters, so I'm raising two little girls, and so I wanted to be able to help them work on mindset positivity throughout their life. So pursuing interest in mindset, I think, is a big
Hmm.
piece of it, just to understand growth and how that all works. But for me also, I do certain things that help me have balance. And so we have hiking trails behind our house. And if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'll go out there and I will not bring my headphones. It's hard.
Good.
And I will just walk with my dog in silence. And those are honestly some of the best walks that I ever take, as I come back and I feel like I'm in a better mental space because I was able to step
Hmm.
away and be quiet and be with my thoughts and process. And so doing things like that really, really helps as well.
That's amazing. You're in Idaho, right? Is it
Yes,
Idaho?
Boise.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, beautiful. It's beautiful there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, what a great place to hike. Well, thank you, Sarah, so much for sharing your journey from, intern to CEO, how you're making an impact with your team and your clients, and how you're staying ahead of, and with the overwhelm, but managing your team through it and yourself through it and your family through it. So, congrats on the new
Thank you.
book and all you're doing. We're just thrilled to have you here today. So, thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.